nothing would shift that would change the quality of the water?
Not generally speaking. In the strata with the glacial till around here, it's not going to shift. However, a good point to be made is that with the co-op around here and other types of sources of potential contamination, I'm not saying the co-op is a contaminating the drinking water here in Wall Lake. There's always a chance that the water quality could be affected to the point where treatment may have to be modified, or that source of water is no longer adequate for potable use.
That would be only under contamination.
Yeah, that would be my only concern really with the weight. It's hard to find an aquifer in Western Ireland that's really protected from the surface. I mean, that glacial sandy till, it's really easy for contaminants to make its way down to the drinking water supply, or easier, I should say, than in other types of bedrock aquifers, for example. So that would be my only concern. And I'm sure DNR will bring that up in the permitting process. They may ask the city if they've done a water protection plan. I know they're going to ask the city if in your ordinances do you have 200 feet of control around all your water sources right now. If you don't, you're going to have to put one in. Now, it's not that hard to do, but basically what you're saying is with 200 feet of any source of water, you control whether somebody sprays for weeds, applies chemicals to their lawns, does any type of sort of business like that. And the city would have control over whether that's done or not. And DNR would require that. In fact, we just did it for a town south of Atlantic here recently, that they were required to have that ordinance in place. So we put that in place.
Kind of the important point too that you kind of went over is putting it out, like an RFP or something has a set of specifications to go by. So you're not getting three different guys giving you a number on three different things. You don't know what's included in each number, They pitch you a number, maybe one had something else in mind, but this kind of lays out what they bid by.
Apple to apple.
Yeah, absolutely.
As John brought up, total depth of the well would be incorporated. Would it be 43 feet, or would we say, let's go down a little bit further so we can see if there's better quantity or quality a little bit deeper, 55 feet deep, for example. How long are you going to test pump the well for? And then who's responsible for the testing? And I put that on the well contractor myself, but that's up to the city. Some cities will have Rick, for example, take the samples and send them off, and the city will pay for them so they get the data, not the well driller. Cities or clients are all different in how they want to address them.
How much difference in the cost of the drill if you have to drill one, they say, oops, that didn't work, I have to come back and drill another one. Is there a significant difference?
They'd have to completely remobilize, so I would say it would cost you more to just do one, and then if it didn't work out. But the great thing about doing a test well then is if that well turns out to be a good location, they can bore that test well out and use it. They don't have to move it. They can actually bore out that existing well and make it larger and make it a production well. So, but if you just did one, that'd be fine. But if it didn't work out, like you said, I'm sure that, instead of, I'm not going to give costs because I don't know, I would just say from our experience with contractors that mobilization is a big charge and a big part of their, if they mobilize once to do 5 wells versus mobilizing once to do 1 well, it's the same mobilization charge. Just the cost per well is cheaper overall when it's spread out.
What do you need from us? Anything?
Do you want them to start an RFP for test well? Can we do that, or do
Well,
we
I think
need
we
to wait?
probably want to consider a contract for design services, which would include the RFP process, and start going through these motions. You're at a certain point right now. Do you want to go ahead and move forward? If you only go through design, again, like Justin said, you don't do anything to put in jeopardy your iJobs funding.
As far as we can go.
As far as you can go, your readiness will help you, especially with the well, when you're having essentially 1 well right now, we can get you to that point. And then if you get iJobs money, great. If you don't, you scale the project back. Let's get that well online, and then we'll address water system issues separately down the road. Other water system issues, I should say.
Well, the question will be asked, did you ask several people to do this contract for design and see what it costs or what? I'm asking.
No, I have not.
I know, isn't that going to be a question that's going to be asked by somebody somewhere?
Do you do RFPs for the consultant part of your, is that you? Is that how?
Right, the consultant?
Yeah, is that you?
Yeah, that would be us.
Okay. So your question is, do we do an RFP for that service? Yeah, and be up to the city and what the city wants to do. I mean, for professional services, you don't have to solicit 3 bids. Now, when you put this out to bid, you'll have to go out for bids. professional services are excluded from that, but if the city, if that's your
That's
house,
the construction in it.
yeah, yeah, we have to put it out in public, they bid the project for bids.
Well, what they're saying is that if we contract with them to do the design services, no, we do not have to put that out for bid.
Okay.
Because
Not
that
legally,
is,
you don't
that
have
is excluded from the bidding process.
But the well itself will be bid once the set specifications
Competitively bid.
competitively bid, exactly. Because it will be public monies that we'll use to build that.
We can use that public money if we want to do test wells also.
Absolutely. In a lot of cases, it's encouraged, so that you know that, if you were to just say, we want to drill a well behind the water treatment plant, and you build a full production well and it doesn't pump what you expected it to pump,
Throw that money away.
I would have more, you would throw the money away. That well would be literally worthless to the city. Now, it wouldn't cost the same as a well, in eastern Iowa or something of that sort, but money is money. And so again, doing the test wells is somewhat eliminates or lessens the risk of that, but we've drilled plenty of wells where we haven't done test wells. We go off local Iowa groundwater geological survey bureau data that's out there. It's public information DNR collects, and we use our best professional judgment on this is the best location for that well.
Won't it be in our request us to do
Test
several?
wells?
It won't.
Before the well goes to full production, we'll have to do all the testing that you would do in the test well stage anyway. So you can find out ahead of time if this is a good location or not, and eliminate those locations where maybe it doesn't pump more than 50 gallons per minute, but you want 130. Well, you're not going to put a well there. It may pump water, it just may not pump the quantity. And like I said, the other problem then is quality. Will your treatment plant handle the quality of water that well is going to produce? So that's the other question that we'll get. And us as engineers, that gives us some security too, in that we know when we design a well in this area, it may tell us whether or not a screen needs to be incorporated or not. It may tell us some static and pumping water levels that we need to know to size the pump correctly and the motor. There's a lot of data that would be known at that time rather than unknown, and eliminate, again, that educated guessing, the professional part of it, that if we have the data, we have the data. There's no getting around it.
Well, I know we need to do a well. I guess we can get started on it at this point. So I would
Move that we hire,
a consultant, MSA as our consultant.
I've got a motion that we hire MSA as a consultant. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second that we hire MSA as our consultant for our well. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried, guys.
get started.